Daniel.
Are we live? I'm just checking. It doesn't seem to have gone live on my other screen.
Yes.
We are live.
Are we talking to ourselves? Who knows?
So I feel like that maybe I should reintroduce the introduction video, because that gives us that little leeway, that little safety net before we start talking to no. Yeah, I can see it's live now.
Hello.
It's really funny this, because I've been watching some of the old episodes, because if anyone's like watching on the new Guitar Builders Collective Chat YouTube channel, I've been uploading the old episodes, and I said exactly what I'm saying now in one of the old episodes, and then I put from then on I put the introduction video up, and it was, I now realise why when I watch people like Rick Beato and they're doing their live streams, they all start with him just staring at the camera.
Yes, wait a minute. Yeah. Is everybody here?
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, okay, I'll redo the intro. Then we've got a little bit of a video which allows us to check it's going live. But I just need to edit it because it says some things in it, like about the forum, etc., which don't exist. But yeah, hey, Alan's in the chat.
Yes, hello, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Yes. Good evening.
And anyone that's watching in the future, say hi in the comments as well.
Yes, hello. Yeah.
Just a very quick reminder, I won't do this every week, but in the new format, we're just going to talk for like 45 minutes. I think for the first few weeks anyway, it's just me catch up with everyone, see what they're up to. But we have got some topics planned, and we've got, you know, as you can see here, people you will recognise again. I won't do too much of an intro because hopefully you know everyone. And we've all got our names here, so you can go look us up.
Yes.
But Dave, how are you?
I'm good. Yes, yeah, I'm good. I'm all fired up actually for the Jigs Cup challenge, because a hollow body guitar is right up my street. And I've been thinking, I'm making an acoustic guitar at the moment, but I mean, it's a bit of a cheat if I use that one. But I was thinking, you know, how about making a telly style acoustic guitar? And it was funny, I was looking today to see how many there are of these things you can buy online, and there's not many. People make a telly shaped acoustic guitar in the style of an acoustic guitar, you know, with the thin ribs and all that sort of stuff. So I think it might be quite an interesting project. And my son-in-law, who's in a band, I mean, he loves the telly. So I thought, well, if I make one of these, I might donate it to him. Because but I don't know if you guys have ever seen one. I mean, I know the Acoustasonics and stuff like that Fender have bought out, but there's nothing really that's just like an acoustic telly.
Yeah.
Perhaps make it a little bit thicker than a normal one. Perhaps put some body curves in it if I can. Put some shaping in. But yeah, so it's a real good project for me this year.
Yeah. You're on an acoustic kick, right, Dave?
I am. I do love, you know, putting acoustic guitars together. I mean, it's interesting. The bass guitar I made, which is sort of along those lines, it's probably one of my most hit videos. I think I've got about 22,000 hits on that one, which is amazing. I've never seen that. It's every week, you know, I get about 1,000 hits on it. The thing with that one was to work out how I could do the upper and lower horns and the neck attachment, and make the rest of the body in an acoustic style. And once I realized that if I got that front bit solid, then I could then just make the back end of the guitar as a hollow body, and it went together really nicely. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this sort of telly style guitar. Yeah, got some ideas.
Just to interrupt, just in case people don't know, Dave said at the beginning about the Jigs Cup. That's the thing that the Guitar Builders Collective run every year. It's just a challenge that's put out there for you to build along with a theme. And as Dave pointed out, this year's theme is a hollow body guitar. absolutely no pressure, but we've got a year to do it in. You can share what you do on the Instagram pages and stuff like that. And with us here, the more the building that goes on, the more discussion there is, the more the community grows. It's all about that. And I'm trying to sort out a date with Brad and Corey to come on to talk actually about last year's Cup and look at some of the builds from that and talk about this year's as well. So hopefully that will be in the next few weeks. It's just a bit awkward because trying to do it this time, which is convenient for us, is 7 a.m. Tuesday morning for the people in Australia. So it's trying to work out, can they do it and get to work, or do they need to get to work first and try and dial in from there?
No, but it's an interesting challenge this year, because it is this make a hollow body guitar, and as I think Corey sort of said, look, you can either hollow a guitar out and do it that way, or you can do it using the acoustic style. And as Mark said, I've got a bit hooked on this. Once you fathom out how to bend the sides of the guitar and fit them into a mold, and we've had some really interesting people talk on the podcast, in actual fact, haven't we, about this? Old Gabby Retty, particularly, about how she does it. But once you start getting into that and assembling all the bits in that sort of format, rather than carving it out of a solid block of wood, you're assembling it from thin pieces of wood. It's a fascinating process. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, before we move on, has anybody played an Acoustasonic before? Like, I've never touched one. Just kind of curious.
No, I've not played one. No.
I noodled on one for like 5 minutes in a local shop, and it's a weird thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's trying to stand between two stools, and it really isn't anything. I really wanted it to be like this kick-ass acoustic guitar that you can get up on stage with and swap between acoustic and electric and stuff. It just ends up being a sort of a milk-warm electric, really. It has potential. I think it does, and I think they need to do something electronics-wise to give it that kind of I don't know, that switchability. But it's a great concept. I think the price point is nuts for them. That's the thing I can't really adjust. I'm like, $2,000 for that thing? Jesus.
And hi there, Scott.
Scott. I don't think he was ready. Sorry. I thought I might miss you in the queue for ages. I just saw your message come through on my phone.
No, but all the demos I've heard of those Acoustasonics, they really just don't, as you say, it doesn't really sound like an acoustic guitar, and it's not like an electric guitar. It's as you say, it's
yeah. It's a solution for a problem nobody has.
But does it feel enough difference that it could spark something else? Because I always think that when you're playing an instrument that feels a bit different, maybe as a creative musician, you might play something a bit different, or the way it feels might encourage you to play a different style or something like that. Or is it just not enough?
My feeling was it just didn't sound. It just didn't sound interestingly enough. I mean, do you remember the Line 6 guitars that came out with the modelling and stuff? I thought they were quite interesting, the acoustic modelling and all that sort of stuff. And I wasn't sure really what the Acoustasonic is trying to get across over that sort of. I don't know. It's an electro-acoustic sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a weird shed load of electronics in it, hasn't it?
Some of them look very cool. I thought some of them had really good combos of wood. I remember a white finish with maybe a mahogany size. I can't quite remember, but I remember it looking really different to the instrument it's based on. And I thought that added something to it. But then I'm all about looks and not the playability or the sound or whatever. I'm trying to improve that with my actual playing by practicing more. But there you go.
Jolly good. So are you guys going to have a go at a hollow body guitar this year?
Well, the one I'm building at the moment has a chamber in it, which is the first time I've done that. So I could technically, this is the body. Ta-da.
Absolutely.
And the chamber is exactly the same size as the acoustic or as the control cavity. So this guy here is just over here, but not routed as deep. And it has made it a bit lighter, but man, it's a heavy body anyway. It's a Les Paul. So yeah, but I could do that. So yeah, I might just throw this into the Jurgs Cup, see what happens.
Yeah,
It's all about sharing. Might as well.
It is. There is one problem with a hollow body guitar, especially if it's a bass guitar, as I've found out, and that's neck dive. And you can't deny it. The neck is going to dive if you let go. So
headless.
Oh, I didn't. That's a good idea.
Yeah, while we're on that, has anyone got any solutions for neck dive? I'm saying that because I saw someone do something the other day which I had never really considered, and it was they got a set of scales out and they were weighing different machine heads and just talking about the difference in weight, and even just changing the actual peg on the top, and suggesting that with neck dive, one thing you can do is literally change your tuning pegs to be like.
Those are heavy. Tuning pegs are so heavy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My first thought would be to hang something off of your your strap button.
Yep.
And maybe even relocate the strap buttons. Like there's a bass player, Alan Caron, and he has a very elongated top horn on his bass because it makes the bass naturally sit upright. So it pivots the bass around when he's playing. So maybe if you lower down the lower one, it might just force that guitar to. You're still fighting weight, but you're giving yourself a bit of an extra hand doing it.
Depends on if we're talking about modding something or designing something, because I discovered sometime quite a while back that if your top horn is kind of long and you're distributing weight wider, you tend to have a lot less problem. But that's a design thing that if you're dealing with something that's already made, weighing tuning pegs, that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
Sounds like an expensive idea.
A friend of mine did what you said, Scott. He literally hung a bag on the end of his guitar, or his bass, where the strap pin was, and slowly filled it with little weights until he got the adjustment right. And then he just had this bag that he hung on his guitar for a while. But I think he then transferred that weight into the control cavity and put something in there, and that sort of balanced out.
That's not a bad idea either.
Another thing that I did once, I guess I had an SG I was playing, and I just bought one of those raw leather guitar straps. And so the rough part of the leather was on my shirt, and that was like sandpaper, like it sticks to your shirt and it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the whole point of making a hollow body bass was to lighten it. Because if you stand on the, playing the bass, which we've been doing recently, for any sort of length of time, it really is heavy on your shoulders, especially for an old man like me.
So that's perfect then, Dave. So you basically increase the surface area of your strap.
Yes.
Right. So you have a wider strap, and that won't move.
Sounds a good idea.
Your skirt slowly starts to choke you.
Put some
the
tape. Yeah.
I guess it's going the other way.
Neil in the chat's just said that he built an Explorer for a mate with a very lightweight body, and that guy moved the rear strap button down in line with the strings to sort the problem out.
Oh,
So
right. I mean, I did think about attaching the strap button to the neck a bit further down. I mean, that's, or like the old acoustics where they go with the strap goes to the, the tuning pegs. But
I'm sure when I first was learning, it wasn't my first guitar, but I'm sure I saw someone I must have been learning with definitely had one where it was tied. It was a Spanish guitar or acoustic guitar, and it was tied onto the tuning pegs.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, there you go.
That's not very metal, though.
It doesn't.
If you want to go metal, you can take Mark's idea further and use like barbed wire, and it can grab into you.
There you go.
There's a guy I've built a few guitars for, or customized a few guitars for, I should say, who It's a very heavy metal band. They're called Inner Axis, German metal. They're like they recently toured with supported Manowar. They didn't tour with them, supported them. But he wears a belt strap with like bullets on it, like big fat thing. So I had to make sure that the guitars I made for him had a thing on the back to stop them getting scratched. So basically a scratch plate that's screwed on the back.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sort of nice to think that a metal band are actually worried about scratching the back of the guitar.
Yeah, well, he's really into his guitars, and yeah, maybe that would have been part of the look of it. I mean, I made one for him that looked bashed up and beaten up, but he wanted to maintain it in that beaten up look, because that was how it was designed. You don't want it to get extra beaten up, because then the beaten up bit might not be part of the design. Beaten up bit, I don't know what we're talking about now, but it's all about the vision that was there.
It is.
Hey, off air, we were just talking before we came on with Owen about Owen's new YouTube channel. So you've mentioned the first video with the body. How are you finding the editing? Is it putting you off building?
No, not at all. Editing is actually grand, but there's a couple of things that we all probably succumb to when we're editing, right? Is number one, Jesus fuck, I look fat. Number two, I need to stop saying so. Number three, I need to stop saying I should have a little counter going every time I say these things. But there's a friend of mine here in Cork. He used to be a talk radio presenter and talk show wrapped up, but now he does a YouTube channel on how to present properly when you're making YouTube, and how to get your video looking cinematic and things like that. So I've been watching his stuff, and he's pretty good in terms of the contact and the engagement. The first thing I'm really shocked about is I have fuck all subscribers. I have about 300 and something at the time of speaking, but the first video got 2,000 views, and the second one is like at 1,500, and I'm like, okay, somebody's watching it. So it's not bad. It's getting there. It's slowly growing, and people mostly are nice. I haven't had one person really give out to me yet, which is hilarious, because I'm making all the mistakes on camera for everybody to see. I'm probably lucky that my audience are woodworkers or guitar builders. But I'm loving it. I found the biggest difference really, or the big thing that helped, was good camera, good audio in particular. I know we've spoken about this on the podcast before, but if you're trying to listen to somebody and they're in a room and it's just the camera microphone at the other side of the room picking it up and it's echoing, it's fatiguing to listen to that. So I got one of these little clip-on microphone things, and it's great. I mean, it's like that size, and nobody even notices it's there. Editing wise, I'm kind of used to it. I've done a couple of videos for different bands done through the years, and product demos for these guys, Mark Bass and stuff. So I'm okay with video editing. It is a little bit monotonous, but it's actually also exciting just to get it done and get it published. But I guess we're all our own worst critics, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And look, if that many people are watching, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know where they're coming from, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm kind of my goal for the end of the year is get up to kind of somewhere around about 1,000 subscribers. If I can get up there, I'll be happy. Because after that, it tends to snowball a tiny bit. So a bit of hard work down to get up there, and then I'll be happy after that.
Yeah, your numbers are opposite of mine. You got hope. 2,500 subscribers and 300 views on a video.
I gotta say, man, if you make new videos and you turn up wearing a tank top, I'm watching.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
I have so much footage that needs to get cut up and posted, and it's all old. And as soon as I post it, people are going to be going, first of all, oh, you're back. It's great. Wait, this is old stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
I've given up on understanding YouTube. I don't know, but like as you know, I've moved all the live streams onto this channel now because I thought it might sort out my old channel working. But all my new videos they're averaging 189. I've had two which got exactly 189 views, which seems really random considering I still get couple of hundred new subscribers every month. So I don't know how that's happening. It's all the old videos really that they're getting the views, and the new stuff doesn't work anymore. So I feel like my time editing is in the past for that sort of thing anyway.
I want to know what Scott is filing. What are you filing, Scott?
Sorry, had the damn mute button on.
I made
the mute doesn't work.
Seriously? All right, what about this? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the mute button on the microphone doesn't work. The mute button on the software was supposed to work.
No.
Okay. So I am ruining everything.
Wait. Can we hold on? The mute button doesn't work? This mute button doesn't work?
Hold on. Everyone mute.
Oh, we can hear you perfectly, yeah.
No, we can't. We can't hear you at all.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent.
Weird. Okay, here I mean the mute button's on. Surely I'm safe. The yellow border on me isn't showing up, so I'm being an asshole. Sorry.
Well, just so people know, I'm not doing this as an audio stream anymore. So people can see us muting and trying to talk. Kind of exciting.
I mean, just going back to the YouTube, I mean, there's so much stuff out there on YouTube, isn't it? I mean, we're all competing against millions of others, but it's you've got to do it if you enjoy it, haven't you? That's the point, you know. Do you find, I was going to say, Owen, it adds an awful lot of time to the build?
I find I'm going back and saying things, 3-4 times just to make sure I have a good take. So what is 2 or 3 minutes of audio and the video is genuinely 15 minutes in the studio. Making sure the press behind me that I opened up a second ago, I closed again. Continuity, all that type of stuff. It's ridiculous. I'm finding myself paying attention to stuff that nobody else is going to pay attention to. But yeah, making the video, taking the camera over, setting it up. The worst thing about the camera that I'm using is the screen is about 1 inch by 1/2 inch. It's the DJI Osmo 3, and it's great, and it looks fantastic when you export the video. But it's difficult to see in real time if what you're recording is in focus. So for this video, I'm talking about making a template. I've a brown paper template I've drawn out by hand. There's pencil on the brown paper. I'm like, Jesus, I don't know, is the camera going to pick this up? Thankfully it did, but I didn't know. I could have ended up having to record that 2 or 3 times or use different cameras. So there's that uncertainty, I think, gets me. And it's just, I'm recording so much stuff just to make sure that I have a safety net, that if something goes wrong, I have some alternative footage or alternative wording to slot in there.
But all of those things that you're not sure if it's going to pick up, etc., etc. Once you've done it, you'll know it works. So next video, you'll be there.
I think you're dead right. It'll be faster the next time, and the next time, and the time after that. And I've gotten a little bit more laid back about. Speaking to the cameras, which is grand. I tried to make it very conversational too. Neil is talking about paper. Yeah, I normally use CAD, cardboard aided design, but this time I'm using PAD, paper aided design, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Bits of old wallpaper work really well as well.
I just to agree with what Neil was saying, without filming, life's a lot easier. And I haven't filmed any of my builds for about a year now, and it is just more pleasurable building them because I don't have to keep moving things around to get the camera in the right angle or doing multiple takes or cleaning up. I feel like my space is a little bit too messy sometimes to film. But I've just been building something for someone else, not a guitar, and he wanted it filmed so he can edit it. So I've had to film bits of that, and it's just been a faff again, getting the tripods out when I'm working.
It's great. The only thing I find is that when the cameras are on, I'm an awful lot more diligent in terms of the work I'm doing. I'm a bit more careful. I didn't have the camera on tonight when I was having my little router mishaps, and I was just powering through them, kind of going, yeah, I've got an hour now. I'll make the most of the hour. And if the camera was there, I'd have been like, no, I need to take this slowly and make sure everything's perfect. So maybe the camera is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm afraid I don't worry about the mistakes now because I'm doing it in sort of a more of a vlog style. If you know, sort of as I'm building it, I'm shooting it. I'm very aware of the fact that I can cock up the whole thing and get to a point where it's, you know, this is going to be a complete mess and everybody's watched 20 episodes and where do I go? So there's a certain amount of pressure on it. But I think, you know, the way I'm looking at it is I'm trying to show people how I build guitars, and it's not necessarily the ideal way. But there's so many people out there who do it so well that you can watch these videos and think, my God, I'm never going to be able to build a guitar because I just haven't got the patience or the skill to actually do it to the level that these guys are doing it. And I include you lot there as well. So I think, you know, perhaps somebody who comes along and says, well, blunders into it more and says, well, okay, I'm going to have a go at this. I've never done it before. Let's see what happens. And if it goes, you know, tits up, well, it goes tits up. And that's, you know, we can fix it some way, or we bodge it. So that's my approach. And I don't feel quite so, like an imposter by doing it like that, because I'm being honest with people that, you know,
the number of times on camera I said, I'm never going to tell you this is how you do it. This is how I do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I also have the luxury of the name of the channel, so when somebody does say, that's a dumb way to do stuff, I'm like, you've read the title, didn't you? Fuck off. There's only been one build on YouTube that I just quit, and I mean it just didn't get done. It was destroyed. You know, that only happened once. So
and that was the nice thing about the GGBO, was that there was a couple of people in there who were, it really was their first time, and they were giving it their all. I remember one or two guys just didn't get there in the end, but they were really good about, you know, facing the defeat and what they picked up from it. And I actually really enjoyed watching those guys. They, you know, they didn't let it get them down. They just said, right, I'll be back next year and I'll do it again. And of course, we didn't have a next year for the GGBO, but yeah, those guys were great. You know, and especially the guys working in kitchens who didn't have tools. They had a jigsaw and maybe a couple of files, and but they were still giving it everything. Maximum respect for that.
Yeah. That was one of the best things about the whole year. One was one thing, but after that, the number of people that were giving it, you know, the first try, and they were the fun ones to watch. You know, the school teacher sticks out in my mind, but there were a lot of them that I'm nervous. I don't want to do video. I feel kind of forced into my, you know, not my comfort zone, and those were fun stories to watch.
Yeah, I felt like that really kind of added to the community element. That whole people doing it everywhere with whatever they had and really giving it a go. And it felt like a lot of honesty in the videos.
Yeah.
Because they weren't out there trying to make a YouTube channel. They were out there trying to be part of the Great Guitar Build-Off and had to make the YouTube for it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
I think the big thing that came out of it for me as well, because I wasn't building at that stage, was just how accessible everybody was in terms of helping each other out. So there were experienced people helping each other out. There were experienced people helping noobs. You know, people had no bother answering questions for people who weren't even builders like me. So that community spirit was huge, and you know, I think we're very lucky that we've captured a lot of that magic and bottled it up for the Guitar Builders Collective as well. because if you spent a lot of time online in different luthiers groups, they're not all supportive.
No.
They're not all ego free or anything like that. There's a couple of nasty people out there who just want to poop all over everything, really.
Oh yeah, I've said it before. The mandolin forums, man, those mandolin luthiers are the worst.
I want to go and join one now. See what they're like.
For whatever reason, my personal observation was YouTube. Everybody that we had in the community, I rarely ever saw anything negative. Facebook seems to be the place where hate lives. It's those groups tend to be mixed. You've got some people in there, but most of the mean stuff I've ever seen in guitar building circles has been Facebook. Apart
from this one, the Guitar Builders Collective group, which you can join on Facebook. Link in the description.
Yeah.
There are definitely there's definitely trolls on YouTube, but they don't emerge till you hit around like 50K. Like once you hit the 50K view mark, the trolls they start coming out.
Yeah. Paul from Mile House Studios was saying that he's just constantly blocking people because they are very aggressive towards him.
He's great. He actually shames them. He'll take a screenshot of whatever they said, and then Paul's army of minions just find that person's social media account and they're it. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
I mean, I don't have that many negative things that often, but often if someone is negative, if I talk back to them, they normally apologize afterwards, or they get worse, and then I just quite enjoy the long chats with them. But anyway, forget the trolls. What I did want to say is we're talking about the Great Guitar Build Off being a community of people sharing ideas and supporting each other. Do maybe not Owen, as you're only got a few videos out now, but do the rest of you get people coming to you on your YouTube comments or contact you because of YouTube asking advice or how to do things?
Yeah, occasionally I get people saying, if I've done something in particular that perhaps a bit different, people who will ask how I've done that and why I've done it that way. Yeah.
I used to, but it's probably getting close to a year since the last time I posted a video, so I've kind of fallen off everybody's radar. I am no longer relevant on YouTube.
I'm sure that's not true.
If I ever was. Yeah, no.
No.
You're relevant here.
Yes, I mean, Mark, I mean, your videos are really high quality. Do you get a lot of questions?
Occasionally, yeah. Depending on the build or depending on what I did. I try to be as helpful as I can, but usually the things I do are kind of off the beaten path. And, I got to say, this is how I did it. There's really no other source of knowledge for how to do this, but, give it a shot if you want to.
Well, then in that case, do you get people saying, hey, look, this is what I've done because of watching your video?
Yeah, there was a one or two, that reached out and sent me what they made. That was kind of cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What I a couple of years ago, I did ask people to send me their guitar stories, and I probably had about 15 of them, and that was really interesting. And some of the work was amazing, and some of the people who sent it in, they weren't just they hadn't just made guitars, they were sort of artists or they'd done something else, and so it was really good. They sent me some photos and things to put with the thing, and a little bit of text about what they'd done. And quite a few people said, "Oh, thank you very much for featuring me. My family didn't know I built guitars," and so so that was really nice. I enjoyed doing that.
I think because my videos are how-to videos, most of them, how to do this, like how to set up this bit of a guitar, how to use this type of paint. I get a lot of questions about which order to do paints in, which order to do setups in. I get a lot of requests for could you do this with this guitar or that guitar, And I really enjoy being able to help people, because it does feel like a lot of the time it won't just be one answer, it'll be back and forth, and then I'll ask people to send me photos when they've done, and people often do, and it's quite rewarding to see that something I've made has helped someone.
Yeah.
But the people asking me to do things, I always feel like I can't just go and buy this very specific guitar with this very specific bridge to show you. But often, one bridge is very similar to another bridge. I wish it makes me sometimes wish that I just was in a guitar shop making these videos, these how-to videos, so I could just grab one off the wall and make a video quickly. Or it would never be quickly.
No.
I posted up making my acrylic templates, and just a couple of reels of the laser cutting the acrylic out and things snapping together, like the neck template and the neck routing or pocket template and stuff like that. I had about 5 people message me going, "Hey, will you make me a template?" And I'm like, no, because you're nowhere near me for a start. And the worst thing about being in Ireland is Brexit, first of all, for the UK, because anything from the UK is an absolute shit show. So anything I would need to send to the UK ends up, incurring taxes. And the thing with templates is you iterate. You make one and you kind of go, I need to tweak it. That needs to be another millimeter wider there. That needs to be half a millimeter smaller there. And you just can't do that unless the person is close to you. If you're making production templates for a specific design and repeating them and banging them out, that's fine. But one of the things I discovered when I was making my template is, if you put into a laser and you say, I want that Floyd Rose nut there to be 43 millimeters wide, you can't draw a 43 millimeter wide rectangle because the laser curve takes some of that away. So you have to calibrate it, and you in both directions, X and Y, because your motor and your belt on one axis might be slightly different to your motor and belt on the other one. So I ended up making all these test blocks, like 54 by 10 mil, 30 by 30, and very close to going borderline insane trying to get it right. But it did work out in the end. But the measurements that this is supposed to be look nothing like this in the design software. They've all been tweaked.
Hey, Owen, one of the ways I iterate with the laser quickly and easily is by using paper. So I'll use watercolor paper. It's a thick, a nice heavyweight watercolor paper, and I'll do all my tests on it. And it's like this, 10 seconds, it's done, and I can put it wherever I need to and pick measurements, iterate till I get it right. Then I cut on my material. Watercolor paper.
That is a damn good idea. I've been cutting on hardboard 2 mil, but that's still expensive. Paper, that's fantastic. I'm going to do that.
I love
All right,
it.
I'm glad I joined this podcast.
Yeah.
And just back to people asking you to make things, that's a great compliment. But I think, obviously, people watching someone on YouTube do something, aren't necessarily aware that those people who are making these YouTube videos do anything other than those YouTube videos and that content. So they probably just assume this is what you do for a living, and you can make them.
You can make loads of them.
I mean, it's surprising, even with some of the channels I watch of non-guitar building things who have massive followings. Occasionally they get to a point where they're so big that they say, I've given up my day job. And I just assumed they'd given up the day job a long time before this because of the output that they make, so much of it in such high quality. But yeah, it's always interesting.
I remember the day that Ola Strandberg quit his day job. I remember that day. He was he had a day job and he was making custom guitars, and they were there was a wait list, a huge wait list. And then I remember the day he came out on social media, I quit my day job. I'm going to do this. I remember that day. Isn't that crazy how someone can start off small and then end up with an empire?
Amazing.
That's crazy.
I wonder how many other people
Day
out
job
there.
was.
We lost it.
I was going to say, I wonder how many other people out there, Mark, remember that day. I bet Ola doesn't even quite remember that day. Where were you when...
It's a good one.
Thank God he did. Man, I love my Strandberg.
Do you know? I don't think maybe I should have a wander around the guitar shops in Brighton. I don't think I've actually seen one in real life.
The closest thing down your direction is the guy who was on with Paul, James Yard. He's making all those ergonomic guitars, Yard guitars. He was on the podcast before.
Yeah, I mean, he's not my way. He's quite a way away.
But I mean, they're
Right,
probably,
yeah.
No, he's in Portsmouth, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
close to Paul.
Yeah. Yep.
no, they'd have them in GAT, couldn't they? In Brighton.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen them in there years ago.
It's
I mean-
worth traveling wherever you have to go. You need to try one. My brother got to visit last week, and he was talking about I want to have a PRS. I was like, I want to play a PRS, but I haven't been close to one that's super nice. But I was like, you need to play my Strandberg before you make any decisions, and he wasn't impressed. So I thought my brother was intelligent, and I guess he's not. So I guess different things for different folks, but man, I love my Strandberg.
I have those memes on Instagram and the reels for PRS releases a new guitar, and you just see like all these accountants and geography teachers running to their nearest guitar shop to pick them up.
Well, exactly. Talking of the PRS, so someone contacted me today. Their boss is going to retire soon at 60 something, is retiring, and wants to take up guitar. And could I make a custom guitar for them, like to give as a present? What do you think is the best design, shape, setup, combination of pickups for someone wanting to learn?
You see, I just think guitar because you can just pick it up and play, and you don't have an amp or anything. But that's probably not what they're after.
No.
Does he want something to hang on the wall?
Well, the thing is that they've approached me because they want it to be an artwork on it or design on it that represents their career in their job. So the paint work is going to incorporate that on it. I can't say anything yet, but when you mention PRS, that's the sort of thing that I imagine this person, because of their sort of career and their money, would be wanting to buy if they knew about guitars. That because there's sort of target audience, I think. But
if you're making it an art guitar, probably something really simple that gives you the biggest canvas to put art on, right? So maybe even just a bridge pickup, and then you've all that real estate for art on it.
Yeah, good point.
The different discussions about what's best for a beginner. Get into that, but it's always struck me how often when somebody finds out you build custom guitars, asks you about making one for a beginner, especially a kid. I'm like, yeah, they need something that is not expensive just in case they don't stick with it, but they also need something that's not crap or they won't stick with it. Go to Guitar Center and spend $300. Rather than having me build, $2,000 worth of something that they very well might not appreciate.
Yeah, but for some people, $2,000 isn't much.
No, exactly. That's the thing. But
I know.
It is.
I do agree totally with you, Scott.
But to see your guitar hanging in a pawn shop, when I poured blood, sweat, and tears into a project that's specifically for one person because I know, it's going to be special for them. It kind of sucks a little bit of the fun out of it when they may just sit in the corner and collect dust.
Yeah.
It's just not a wise way to go about getting a first guitar for somebody. And that part, I guess it doesn't bother me so much. I find it really curious that so many people think that.
Times have changed. Like these days, you can walk into any guitar store and pick up a really cheap guitar, and it's going to play just great, especially for a beginner. It was different when we were kids. It was way, way different, and the quality was different. But these days, it's far, far easier to get into it. But before we leave the topic of PRS, I did have a PRS story, something that I actually read at work. This is really interesting. At work, we have this like Slack channel dedicated just to guitar players and guitar gear and stuff. Owen might know about this, but anyway, there was a story about how someone had bought a brand new PRS 24, like a 24 fret, and found a dead spot around the 18th fret. I think it was like the G or B string. And by dead spot, it was like a spot that had less sustain when the note was actually played. So you could play all the way down the frets, and they all sustain the same amount of time except for that one spot. And the guy actually recorded it, and you could actually see the recording of the waveforms and how there was very, very little. So he sends it to the guitar tech in his town, and the tech's like, I can't find anything wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. So he writes to PRS, and he's like, there's something wrong with my guitar. And PRS, one of the actual engineers at PRS confirms in an email that it is a known issue, that because of the 24 frets at that scale length, there is a sort of a dead spot around the 18th fret. A known issue. And they actually stated it in the email. The guy published it and prints it. I think you can find this all over the web also. And I thought that was super interesting that you had someone from PRS confirm that just by the sheer nature of mathematics, however a string oscillates in the resonant point, that there was a spot on a PRS, a very expensive PRS, all PRSs, that just actually doesn't sustain as much as the other strings. I thought that was the most bizarre story. Yeah, wow. So wild.
Man.
Crazy.
But surely
a known issue. It's not like they can push a patch to fix it.
But doesn't that affect all guitars at 24 frets then? I mean, does that...
Of that scale length?
The scale length.
It's a very specific scale length, yeah.
Do you know what it probably is for PRS? It's probably the choice of wood they've used. Yeah, that's it.
Toneless wood?
Toneless wood.
Toneless wood.
I mean, I don't want to say anything against PRSs. I've done paint jobs on a few SE models, and they were pretty good.
I'm going to say I've got one.
I'd love to play one. I'd love to, but it used to be when I would go to Japan, a place that I would walk by had a guitar store, and it was full of PRSs. And I always meant to get in there, and it shut down last time I was there. So I don't know.
So listen, the aim of doing these new weekly live streams at this time was to keep them nice and short. So I want to put a question out there if anyone is watching in the future. Two things. Have you played a PRS and did it have a dead spot? That's one thing together. And then, what is the best guitar for someone learning who's an adult? Because I think, is an adult less likely to commit? Are they more likely to commit? Are they more likely to suffer from gas instantly before they've even got into it?
I think they'd be more likely to commit. However, a piece of junk, I'm positive everybody would quit.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
If it doesn't sound good and it's not fun to play, you're not going to play. And if you don't play,
if it's not set up right, definitely,
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because the singer in my little band, who's in his 60s, he wants to learn the guitar. And so, I mean, I've said to him, get a really good acoustic because he's no good with amps and stuff like that. But I'm interested to hear what other people think as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Excellent.
we've got left-handed guitar, a lightweight guitar that's set up right. I think the setup's a thing, definitely a thing.
And you know, as silly as it sounds as well, the guitar has to look good. It can't be a weird thing. Like it's your first guitar, you're going to be standing in front of the mirror going, I'm a rock star. It's got to be something that gets you excited to hang over your neck as well. Somebody hands you a Dan Electro Longhorn, you're going to look at them going, what the fuck is this?
So clearly the answer is, unfortunately, Scott, we've got to commission you for $2,000 for
first guitar. That's what we need.
I took pictures again this weekend. This weekend is Mother's Day. Next weekend, I'll be in Kansas. After that, I'm going to try to start getting back into the shop. And I have a design on the bench, and it is not going to be hollow body. I don't know if I will ever do anything hollow body.
Oh no, you can't say things like that.
I don't picture it happening unless I finally decide to do a ukulele or a shamisen, like a
Corey's
promise.
trying. Corey's pushing that. Certainly.
Yeah,
Ukulele.
Corey's trying to corner the market on electric ukuleles at the moment. The dude's banging out like 12 of them at one time.
Anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, your homework is to go and look up Saul Goode Guitars on Instagram and have a look at the very
Custom shop ukuleles. Definitely.
No, I always said I was not interested in acoustic at all until there was one video, and I cannot find it anymore, of a dude making a ukulele, and watching that was just fascinating. And I thought, I think I could do it on that scale. I think I could get into trying it once. I'm not gonna, probably not gonna decide to do tons of them, but I would like to do one.
I'm so crap at ending this live stream because I just need to tell you about this jig I saw yesterday. It was someone bending the sides of an acoustic guitar. But what they had,
the rotating one?
yeah, the rotating pegboard. It was on the wall, and they had different shapes, different bits of wood which were shaped as part of the guitar body, and that clipped into the pegboard. The sides that they were bending around it bent slowly around that bit of that they just put it into the pegboard to shape to that bit of wood, and then the whole pegboard rotated so they could apply pressure, and they put the next bit of wood into the pegboard to hold the side in shape, and they bent it around that, and then they rotate the pegboard again and put the next bit in, and then they hang weights off it to hold it down. It was brilliant. It was hypnotic to watch, and it was
really good. Yeah, and
I
they were weight hanging off
building-
it as well, so that it stayed taut as they were doing the bending. But two things struck me. One is that it's definitely sped up. It's not that straightforward. And the second is, I'm going to throw it out there. I think it was pure blind luck that the sides didn't splinter or crack by the force that was being put there. And I'm only saying that because I make guitars, but I've said it before. My brother makes violins, and he has to steam bend the little 1-inch sides of them. And I don't know if you've really ever heard an Irish person lose it, but there's a lot of cursing and many expletives. And I used to get text messages like 3 or 4 times a week going, "That's the 4th effing set of sides that are after splitting and cracking. I'm sick of making violins. I'm going to start making electric guitars." And then 2 minutes later, "Oh no, I got it. It's okay. It's good. It's working. It's fine."
So Owen, you're telling me that that the YouTube and clips and the Instagram reels I watch, I can't believe them. They're fake.
Absolutely not. You think this is real hair?
AI generated.
On that note, I will go.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
We'll
so
be
much.
back next week at the same time.
All right.
Good seeing you guys. Take care.
Bye.